Hey there, welcome back to my garden. My name is Lacey and I'm gardening in Western Oregon, Zone 8B, and we've been blessed with another relatively nice day. It's a little bit breezy out, kind of chilly, but we are continuing to expect some pretty torrential downpours this weekend. So again, thinking about what I wanted to get done while I was out here in the garden, and one thing I really wanted to do was plant up the hanging baskets that we got plants for the other day when we went out to do some plant shopping. You guys were with me when I did that. If you weren't, go ahead and check out that video. It was a pretty fun day going out and about to several of my most favorite garden centers, seeing what they had, but mostly shopping for the plants that I'm going to be putting into these hanging baskets. So we're going to be working just down here on the front pathway right here behind me. Usually I do this project up on the front porch, but it can get a little crammed up there. So I thought we might as well just go ahead and do the project down here. First off, I'm gonna bring down the containers. We're gonna empty them out and then we'll get started with the plants. But let's just really quick look at the plants that I did pick up for these hanging baskets because I think it is just absolutely such a beautiful combination and I can't wait to see it come together. All right, so hopefully you guys can hear me over the wind because it is pretty breezy. Hopefully that won't interfere, but as you can see, I did pick up some pansies. I found these beautiful raspberry colored ones. I absolutely love this color. Delta Pro blotch mix, and I believe these white ones are, these ones actually right here. These are, I believe, are the, they're also a blotch mix variety of the Delta Pro, but this one just says Jumbo Pansy Viola because I did get these ones in 6-packs. They were a little bit cheaper going this route, but the plants in the little wells were just as big, if not bigger, I figured, than the ones in the 4-inch containers. So they were looking really good. And I think considering we're working in a hanging basket with a small well, these ones will be a lot easier to work with than doing all the 4-inch containers. So in addition to the pansies, I did pick up some ornamental cabbage. I just thought that the leaves on these would be such a neat contrast to the glossiness of these ones on the pansies. They have the little bit of a bluish tint to them, and then obviously, of course, the veining is just so beautiful on these. They tie really well together, I think, with the pink of these pansies. And then I did get some lavender. So picked these up at S&K Nursery. They were having 25% off all of their perennials, which these were included, even though they're technically an evergreen for me, like basically a woody shrub. So 25% off, such a good price. But this variety is Lavender Phenomenal, and it's supposed to be an amazing selection. I don't think I have this one anywhere in my gardens, so it'll be great to be able to transplant it out after I'm done having it in the hanging baskets. But loves full sun. Obviously, this one can get quite large, 36 inches on the foliage, and then the blooms take it up another foot. So supposedly a really, really good variety. Where I got this one from, they don't grow too many varieties of lavender, and she told me she picked this one specifically because it is so fragrant and does so well in our area. So what I'm going to do is basically have this be my filler, or I'm sorry, my thriller in the middle, and then I'll have these surrounding each one of those, and then I'll have a smattering of the pansies around those. So I have 2 of the lavender, 6 total of the cabbage, 3 for each. And then I have enough of the pansies to go around. There'll be 3 of the pink in each of them. And then I'll have 6 of the little red, white, and purple ones in each of those. Aren't those sweet? I just love them. I love having white. I was kind of almost thinking I would like to have found just pure white, but couldn't find those, so I thought these would be a great option. And all of these are in my containers in the back garden too. We'll walk back there after we get these planted up, and I'll give you a look at the other containers that we've done, because I think that all of these, even though you can't see them all at once necessarily, I think they all just tie together really well, and I appreciate that. I appreciate having cohesion throughout my gardens, even when it comes to my containers. So I'm glad how these ones will tie in with the ones on my window boxes and then also the ones in the backyard. So I'm going to go ahead and go up and I'm going to get the hanging baskets. We'll take a look at those, empty them out, and then we will get started. So as I've mentioned before, these were absolutely, they were absolutely great performers throughout the season. I've just kind of stopped watering them as much as we've gone into fall, just knowing that I'd be switching them out. I just wasn't stressing too much about watering them and keeping them, you know, well watered and certainly not fertilized. I think I fertilized these, I don't know, a couple times. I'm sure they could have done a tremendous amount better if I would have stayed on with regular watering and all that stuff, but that's just not exactly how I garden. So I just kind of take what the plants can naturally do for me, and I was pretty happy with it. So this did have the Supertunia Mini Vista White, Mini Vista Plumbed Vein, and then it had Bordeaux in it, which actually, nope, this is Bordeaux right down here. See, this one is a little bit bigger bloom than the Supertunia Mini Vista Plum Veined. But very similar in the habit of the coloring, how it comes out, but just different color and different size. And I just thought it was a really, really pretty combination. And I am such a fan of the Supertunia Mini Vista White. I love this one. I think I would absolutely repeat this planting, but they definitely look shabby now. So I think I'm gonna I need to unhook the chains to make it easier to dump out what's inside there, and then we'll be able to put in some new soil and get going on the planting. No, Toby, get back, get back. Okay, so we got everything emptied out, and as you can see, I do have some plastic lining my cocoa liner here. I'm just reusing the same one that I used over the summer. This does have holes in it, so I'm not worried about drainage at all. I do really think that this helped a lot with my Supertunias to not immediately have the water just drip out from the bottom when I watered them. So I'm just gonna continue on with this. I don't think that it is detrimental at all to the plants. It's much like just, you know, the plants growing on in a plastic container. So I'm gonna go with this, and I like the help that it gives me to not lose too much moisture with the cocoa liner. So just keep that kind of packed in there. I can curve down the edges after I get the soil in. I think I might just put a small layer. This is going to be a tight container. I think that this is probably about 18 inches across, I think maybe 8 inches deep. So not a huge container, but considering this is going to be over fall and winter and into spring, I don't expect any of these to be putting on a tremendous amount of growth root width wise. So I think that they'll be just fine. Yeah, if I was doing this over the summer, this would be a lot harder to pack them in this tightly, but we're gonna go for it since it's this time of the year. Okay, I'm not gonna put too much soil on the very bottom, but I also don't mind if my lavender is elevated up a little bit. I think that'll be just fine. And then I'm going to do these kind of as just a little triangle around here. So I'm going to push some of the soil towards the root ball here. Since these are just 4-inch, they need to be raised up just a little bit. These are kind of just going to be like a little bit of a triangle. Pretty. Maybe could have just done ornamental cabbage all the way around. That would have been really pretty, but we got to get some flowers in there too. So let's see. We have 3 openings and 3 of these. Put some more soil in there. It feels so good. So I was originally thinking that I was going to put a pansy kind of like underneath the cabbage, but now I'm thinking I'm just going to lean these forward a little bit, and I think I'm going to do 3 of the pansies in between each of the cabbage because I am, like I said, dealing with such small root balls, and I don't expect them to get too huge, like I said, over the winter time, so I think that's a better option. So I'm adding in this soil and I'm packing it around the root balls of the cabbage and the lavender, just so the root balls are nicely tucked in there. The roots won't freeze. So I think if I take one pansy there, I think that'll be nice. I did find the tag. These are pansy white blotch. Okay. Oh, it's super pretty. I think I just need to kind of rotate this around and fiddle with the soil a little bit, make sure that everything is tucked in nicely. Pretty. The only thing I'm not sure on these, obviously they'll grow taller as time goes on, but initially I don't think you're going to be able to see much because they'll be up kind of high. Oh, that's pretty heavy. right, here is the finished product, and I hope you guys can see it well enough. I'm dealing with some interesting shadows casting onto them. I definitely think that this could be a combination that would be absolutely beautiful in a container that's, you know, not a hanging basket that you can see kind of from the top, because I just think that that arrangement right there is so, so pretty. Of course, just the detail on the veins of this cabbage is just, it sets them apart for sure. And of course, the texture difference between the cabbage and the lavender. And now you may be wondering, why am I using lavender? I don't anticipate that it's going to bloom, obviously, just because we're, you know, getting into some pretty cold weather. It's mainly just for the foliage, for the structure, for the color, for the upright habit. I just think it looks like a really pretty centerpiece for the fall, into the winter, and then into the spring, because I do think that these will last me all the way into spring. So just really, really pretty. I'm really happy with how these turned out. A lot of the little guys didn't yet have blooms that were open on them, so that will be fun to watch those fill in and become more floriferous as they're in the container. But you can see right here, this combination, this variety, and then the pink next to it. I love it. I think that is so pretty put all together. So now I just need to hook up the chain for this one, and then I think I'm going to have one of my sons come out and help me lift these, because the soil that I put into them was fairly moist, and you know, that makes for some pretty heavy containers. But we actually have a cloud really quick, so let me show you without the harsh light on them. You can see a little bit better, I think, how they turned out. The shadows make it tough, but as you can see down here, you won't even really be able to see. Obviously, these will be hanging up above you, so you wouldn't be able to see the white of the plastic in there at all. But I really, really, really enjoy this combination. I could see myself, like I said, using it in a different type of container in the future. So I think I'm going to go get one of my boys and have them hanging up there. I just wanted to show them to you down here, because that's, you know, how you actually can see the arrangement. Once they're hung up there up high, kind of above your head, it's a little bit more difficult to see what the arrangement looks like. So I'm going to go get them, and we will get these guys hung up. I was coming into my garden shed to get 2 of these. I hoped I had 2 so I could hang my baskets up on these so that I could more easily rotate them, but unfortunately I only found 1. I know I had 3, so I'm not really sure where the other 2 were, but I wanted to be sure to show you guys what this was, because you can find them at your local hardware store, and they definitely make it more easy to get even light on your hanging baskets when you have a situation like I do where the back side is facing the shade. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to continue to look for my other one. I'm not going to use this right now because it'll make them hang differently, but I will look for my other one and rehang them once I find it. But I just asked my son to come out, and we'll see if he's up there and ready to hang up the baskets. He already did it. He came out here and did it before I even came back. Let's go up there and take a look. Isn't that sweet? Oh, so cute. So nice and clean. So much tidier than the crazy super petunias that were kind of billowing over the edge. So cute. So yeah, these will all continue to grow up a little bit, I think. Hopefully they will, and just kind of spill over the edge. But, you know, just even as they are right now, I think they look super sweet. So let's just go take a walk really quick and look at the other containers that we have planted up and see how they all kind of tie together. Actually, we could just start right here on the front porch. We can take a look at these containers that we put together not too long ago with all evergreen plants that are primarily foliage plants. They are still looking so pretty. So here's one of them. They're both exactly the same. So just show you this one, but you can see how just the rich jewel tones in this kind of tie together with what we have going on up there in the container, in the hanging basket, all the way down here to the lavender. There's actually just a little lavender start, and I wouldn't be surprised actually if this is the same variety, because I got them at the same location. So those will be really nice complementary plants to have near each other, I think, and just really nicely play off of each other. This is a similar color to what we have up there in the veining, a little more purple, but even here in the new growth in this tri-colored sage, similar color, even here in this hebe. So yeah, love that how they tie together. And I know in the other video I was talking about possibly getting a sunshine ligustrum for the middle, and I could have done that, and that would have actually tied in really nicely with the lemon cypress that are in these ones. But I didn't, and I'm okay with that because I do really, really like the lavender. All right, one thing I will say before we move on is the scale of these containers planted up like this is definitely not right for my house. My house is 3 stories from the front because we have a daylight basement, and they look pretty puny, but that's okay because honestly, like I was saying before, when I was talking to you guys about transplanting out or taking out the supertunias, my main concern was what they looked like on the backside because I do sit on my front porch a lot, and so I'll be able to see these from up there on the porch, and in that perspective, they will look just fine. So just wanted to show you guys that in case you were maybe thinking that. I do acknowledge that they are pretty small for our front porch and the size of our house, but I'm okay with that. So let's look over to the side patio right here, and you can see lots of the same repeated colors, lots of the jewel tones that are in there, even though these are not being able to be seen from, you know, at the same time, I guess, when you see the front porch ones and then these ones. The colors still repeat themselves. There's this color that now in the pansies, this kind of raspberry pink color in this little sweet vinca. And then we have the, you know, the crystally kind of bluish white foliage right here. And obviously the jewel tones of the heuchera and the rich greens and all that stuff. So that ties in really well too. Before we go to the back patio, show you the window boxes that are really quite similar as well, although these have violas in them that I could spend some time deadheading, but it's a little bit awkward to do that out here. So anyway, they have the sweet violas in them, and then again there's some ornamental, I think these are cabbage also, similar coloring, a little bit of a different growth habit, but they have the same pinky veining, and then these Dusty Miller coincide again with the lavender that's in the other ones on the front. So again, just some more repetition of colors and textures, similar idea, some different plants. These ones have the heuchera in them too, which I didn't repeat obviously in the hanging baskets, but you know, again, they just kind of speak the same language, I think, and coordinate really well. And the one over here is very similar, though the lighting is a little bit tricky on it right now just because it's kind of peeking around the side of the house, but same plantings, just a few more in each of these. So yeah, very similar to the ones on the front, similar color palette, and I like how they all are coming together. And so now we'll go back onto the back patio. And then back here, some of the repeated petunias. There's some that I did not get for the front. I didn't get these ones, and I didn't get these ones. I would have loved to. These are super, super sweet, but I didn't get those. This one's up there. Oh no, actually that one's not up there. Ones I got don't have this purple leaf in the back, so they might not even, yeah, these ones are a little bit more red. So maybe I didn't get any more repeated ones, but still they have a very similar color palette, and obviously I like going with these jewel tones. Same back here with these containers, looking still really good. With these little violas are so sweet. More the heuchera, the green varieties, you know, and with the Dusty Miller too, that looks very similar, I think, similar effect as the lavender. So again, even though these can't be seen, you know, from the same vista as you walk around my gardens, though, they will kind of tie everything together and keep the containers looking nice and cohesive. And then I did get a few more pansies to go into the horse trough, the watering trough container that I have down by the goat pasture. I'm going to be taking out the asters that were in there. Those are done blooming. And then I'll be planting in the pansies that are the same white blotch that I got that are in the front containers. So we'll be doing that really soon, and I think that pop of white will look really, really nice down there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was fun for you to see the purchases that we made the other day come into their own in these hanging baskets on my front porch. I love the tidiness of it. It makes me really happy, especially when I'm looking around my garden seeing a lot of work to be done. It's nice to have these little guys just kind of buttoned up and looking nice and sweet, and hopefully they will continue to do that all the way through winter into spring. So thank you guys for hanging out with me while I did this project. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.